It's loading. Good morning, NFL fans. Me and Tony are here to give you our picks for week 7, and I guess we'll tell you Joe's picks as well. The fours are ready, Tony. I'm ready. We got to give our picks today. But how are you doing? How was the week? Other than the Chargers.
I'm doing a lot better today than I was the other day. I still haven't rewatched the game back because I know that it's going to be agonizing to watch how close they were again to winning another game.
Yeah, I'm typically the guy that watches every game back, not even just Charger games, like every game throughout the entire week. But I've been hectically busy this season so far, and it's kind of been like a blessing in disguise that I have not been watching the Charger games back, because I think last week's game against the Cowboys probably would have me smashing my head against the wall, because it had me smash my head against the wall in the stadium. If you guys haven't seen my live reaction, definitely go check it out after the show on NFLMike on all platforms. It was frustrating. Lots and lots of mistakes. But we're talking about every single team, y'all. Not just the Chargers in today's show. Joe Morley couldn't make it today, but he will be back, I think, for Sunday morning show, or at least something next week. Dude's got a busy life. He's constantly at the Raiders games. So during the week, he's got to make some money and actually show up to work.
Yeah, no, he's Joe's definitely living the best life he can for his Raiders team, and they're 3-3. I mean, this is when you got to be enjoying your life, because I don't think it's going to stay like this, but they're
like the worst 3-3 team I've ever seen, actually.
Get it while the getting is good. I'm excited to see how things work out in that battle of late round rookie QBs.
Oh yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Definitely, because you got both backups, but both guys kind of showing like little flashes to excite their fan bases at least a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. I was watching 17. I think his name's Bagent.
Yeah, Tyson Bagent.
Bagent. Okay, I was watching him on one of my screens, and he tried to make that comeback attempt on the Vikings last week. It was kind of exciting. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, he's got some real grit to him. He played at a smaller school, but he can spin it a little bit. And I'm interested to see that game, like how it unfolds.
It'll be fun. And I'll definitely have that one pulled up on my TV screen, Tony. All right, we're going to get into this. Everyone tuned in on the TikTok chat. Sorry, I got something about Justin Herbert, some rumors about who he's dating. No one cares. Everyone in the TikTok chat, everyone on the YouTube live, please come over to the MJT Football YouTube channel, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. Leave comments in the live chat over on YouTube. We're responding to all of your comments on YouTube. Can't keep track of TikTok and YouTube, so we're doing it all in one spot. YouTube, MJT Football. All right, let's get into this, Tony. First game is tonight's game. Jacksonville Jaguars are going to NOLA on a short week here to play the Saints. Trevor Lawrence, scary injury last week. Good news came out that it was just a sprain. I was very concerned when I saw the replay and they said that it was a knee injury because he didn't get hit in the knee. And usually when a guy is getting hit in his heels or in his calf and it's a knee injury, it's something significant. But it seems like T-Law might have dodged a bullet. They're saying it's a knee sprain, and the news broke before we went live that he is confirmed active for this game. I have flipped back and forth on this one. The Saints have kind of been a letdown for me, especially offensively. I felt like they should have more juice. They should have been more consistent. You got like uber talents like Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara in this offense, and then you got some proven veterans that are just going to be there for their quarterback when need be, especially in the short yardage game, like Michael Thomas, Foster Monroe, Juwan Johnson, but they just haven't quite clicked. And you could say it's because of Derek Carr trying to get it going with these guys or whatever it is, but it's midseason now. Alvin Kamara's back. Like, we're hitting a point, New Orleans Saints offense specifically, where if you want to have a chance in the NFC, it's going to need to have a turnaround. That's why I'm kind of leaning Jaguars here. They actually had a really good performance last week, other than that Trevor Lawrence injury. I'm going to take them to just score more points than the Saints, but I'm very, very concerned that if T-Law isn't very mobile, the Saints defense is going to get after him, and they know he's hurt going into the game.
100%. We get an injured Trevor Lawrence. We get dumped down Derek. Like every time he has a chance to just dump the ball down behind the line of scrimmage, within 3 yards, it just keeps doing it. And Harrison, not falling for this trade breaking news thing because you got me a couple weeks ago. You're not getting me again. I need proof of it before it happens. And then Damian, if you're still in here, I didn't hear about the TO stuff, but if it's true, go ahead and try and fill us in here in the chat.
Yeah.
But as for this game, like Thursday Night Football, I do think it's going to be a low scoring but sort of fun, interesting game to watch, right? Like two really good running backs in this game. Travis Etienne's been having his way with a lot of teams. Alvin Kamara's been really good since he got back. The Jaguars defense is surprisingly better than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be the downfall for them, but every time I watch the Jags, I just rewatch the Colts game from this past weekend. They played really good. They're opportunistic. They're getting their hands on a lot of footballs in the secondary. Probably could have had 5 or 6 interceptions in that game, thanks to Minshew Mania headed back to Duval. I think the thing that I am like really interested to see is how they stop guys like Carl Granderson. Like the Saints really did a good job of signing him. He's become a really good edge rusher, gets a ton of pressure. So I'm leaning the Saints for that factor. The home field advantage gets pretty loud and crazy in there. End of the game, like Derek Carr's got to do it. They need that rookie kicker to start making these. He missed a 29-yarder. Like, that's the kind of thing where a fan comes out of the stands and wins a trip to Waikiki. Can you make this 30-yard field goal for an all-expenses-paid trip to the Bahamas? Like, you have to make a 29-yard field goal in the NFL. And that ended up costing the Saints last week. And the Saints know they should probably be like 5-1. If they don't miss multiple field goals last week, they win. They blew that lead against the Packers. This Saints team, to me, is better than that record, but maybe not better than what the offense has played like. It's a weird sort of a conundrum. I'm going to roll with them. And Jaguars, if you're up 14 points, don't have your franchise quarterback running a boot on third down with 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Just take a knee if that's the case. Like, it was just a ridiculously dumb play call. So I got the Saints. Another chance for me to increase my lead. As you can see, the smartest man on the show just keeps getting smarter.
Yeah, I would even talk about you increasing your lead by 2 games last week, Tony, in kind of like a messy ass week for Pickems. You come out of the smoke and fire on top, and that really upset me. And that's why I'm sticking with the Jaguars also, because I was thinking about twisting it. I've always been a preacher of I always pick the healthiest team on Thursday night, even if it's a major underdog, because it almost seems like every Thursday night game comes down to which team's healthier by the fourth quarter. And the Jaguars dealing with an injury, so their quarterback frightens me. But I picked the Jaguars originally before the T-Law news was really solidified. I said I was going to switch it if he was out, and if he was in, I was going to stick with it. He's in. I'm going to stick with it. Hopefully, I don't go down 3 games here. I'd be very upset if I do. By the way, there's a lot of engagement going on TikTok right now. We cannot see your chats on TikTok. Please come to the MJT Football YouTube channel. Anyways, Joe Morley's going with the Jaguars, Tony.
Yeah. No, good for you guys there. T.O. getting hit by a car? Like, is he in critical condition? I'm going to look that up.
After the show, yeah. That's crazy if that happened. Hopefully he's all right. There's a bunch of levels when it comes to getting hit by a car. You know what I mean? There's just falling on the hood and having a few bruises or scrapes along the ground, and then there's full-blown hit by a car. So we'll see. I'm going to check the news on that as well, Tony, after this. I guess Terrence Marshall is getting traded. Is it to a certain team yet or anything, Harrison? Kind of just leaving us in the dark there. We'll answer this real quick. You think Rodgers making a comeback? I don't think there's any reason for him to. There isn't. Just get ready for next year.
I think there might be a reason to. Like, this Jets defense is maybe turning a corner and trying to
they hold into the playoff race. Yeah.
But he's not. There's no way at 39 years old that he's coming back with an injury like that.
Yeah. I'm happy that he's coming back at all. That's kind of injury that some people would just say, you know what, maybe this is God telling me I'm done.
Yes, I would. I would
Our
definitely
chat.
trade.
CMC and Garrett Wilson for Walker and Diggs. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but the CMC injury and Garrett Wilson having Zach Wilson possibly for the rest of the year. You're getting Stephon Diggs, one of the most electric offenses in the league. I think I would do it too. I would ask for more, though. I feel like you can con someone out of more for CMC than this.
You're getting the healthier running back and the receiver with a better quarterback. Like 1,000%. Everything is upside for you.
No team, but he has permission to seek a trade. Oh, so he has to go get it himself. It's going to be like a minimal trade to somebody. Benji, we get it. You're a Raiders fan. Let's talk about the Bills and the Patriots here, Tony. I had this one as one of my easy games. I didn't do the tiers this week, but we'll do them next week. Patriots, any chance in this? I mean, it's a division rivalry game still. You guys were telling me how much the Patriots suck last week. They came this close, Tony. And I argue that if Devontae Adams catches that freaking ball, Devontae Adams, definitely not Devontae Adams. Devontae Parker catches that freaking ball. They may have just squeaked that field goal at the end and pulled out a victory and made me look like the smartest motherfucker in the world. But no, they fell short. They fell short, even against the Raiders. That defense, by the way, the Raiders' great defense that Joe brags about all the time, has given up multiple late game sideline shots like that. One to us, Josh Palmer just saying. But Bills, right? No chance for the Patriots here.
I don't see a way that they win this game, even if the Bills play as bad as they did against the Giants. And I mean, the game plan for the Giants was really good. Watching that game, I was shocked that they didn't blitz him more. Like that's kind of the calling card for Wink Martindale, and he was just like, no, we're gonna play a little more conservative and allow the front four guys. The Giants defense is getting better. Patriots defense does not seem to be getting any better. So the Bills, this is pretty easy. I think there's an opportunity for a nice little blowout and just another crushing loss with Belichick at home, where we actually hear Patriots fans like booing like the majority of the game.
Yeah, I'm with you. And you could say one thing about the Bills, just like randomly kind of coming out stale, having random games where they're completely off. The offense can't get it going and they get shut down. Like against the Giants last week, probably should have lost that game if the Giants could have pulled their heads out of their asses twice on the 1 yard line. But they always respond to those kind of games by having a phenomenal game the following week. Like they always kind of like lock in and then turn it around the next week and like in week 1, blow out the next team that they play. I think that we could see that again. Joe's also with us in the Bills. I think there's a mistake here in the graphic when we go to the next game. Just a warning for everybody. No one get their panties out of a bunch. I forgot to delete some stuff off the graphic, so it's gonna say that we picked the Patriots and the Bills. I'm just saying right now. But Browns Colts, Tony, thinking similarly to this Bills game. The way the Browns defense is playing right now and what they did to the San Francisco offense, I don't got much hope for Gardner Minshew, no matter who's playing quarterback for the Browns. And I think it's just gonna be PJ Walker. PJ Walker has been in this league now for multiple years. He's played in the USFL, the XFL, and he's just a consistent backup. When you're in a pinch and your team needs someone that's going to not make crazy ass mistakes and cost you games, PJ Walker is a good guy, and he's got a little bit of mobility, so he can make some plays with his feet as well. If the Colts D-line starts to get after him, I think the Browns are going to win this game. I don't think they're going to go crazy and blow them out, but I think they're going to win comfortably and lead most of the game because of the defense.
Yeah, this has an opportunity for 5-6 turnover game for them. Forced fumbles, interceptions. Jaguars did it to the Colts last week. The one thing that is like that I kick myself for it every single year, and I'm going to say it, I should probably write it down and just pin it to my computer. Why do I always pass on Amari Cooper in fantasy drafts in the 5th and 6th round? Like the guy just continues to be a top level receiver, and we just don't give him that kind of credit. Why? Because he maybe limped out of a couple games where people thought he should have gutted it out. Like he's just such a good receiver for that team. Jerome Ford continues to be, very good to above average replacement level for Chubb, which is nice. And Deshaun Watson practiced today, Mike. Practiced in full. So could be back out there. I'm not 100% sure that a rusty, possibly injured Deshaun Watson is a major upgrade over him. But I got the Browns in this one. I think whatever the spread is, I would take the Browns on that side too. If it's 4 or 5 points, like I think the Browns can win this game pretty easily.
Me too. Joe's on with us as well on the side of the Cleveland Browns for this pick this week. Joe's picks exactly like mine. I don't think that's a good thing considering he's in last place behind by 5 games. I may have to change a few of these picks after the show. And look at speak of the devil. He's here in the chat right now saying that you cheat and you use your brain and all kinds of stuff. We're going to talk about every game, Benji. So just stay tuned. If you're tuned in, we're going to talk about your favorite team. If we already did talk about your game, just rewind the show. You can rewind it. But we're going to get to the Chargers. Don't worry. Right before your Raiders. We got a question here. Does he start? Oh, this is a crazy comment, though. Does he start AK, Alvin Kamara, ETN, and Ridley? ... I can't. 10-man league. Eckler, Watson, 2 guys. Brandon Ayuk only have to start 1. I am lost. I am lost, man. Just tell us what the question is and what the options are, and we'll pick them. But we got you, see that when you get that in there. Harrison is saying that AR is going to be the next RG3 bust. RG3 was not a bust, first of all, Harrison. This is a stupid comment. It's one of the stupidest comments you've left in this show before.
I like whoever that comment was from, that he's apologizing for his ADHD.
Yeah, he's being honest. Like,
I think that I kind of deciphered what he's saying is like he has to start Eckler and
Deshaun Watson.
So I would start Eckler, ETN, and
Ayuk,
and then whatever 2 wide receivers you got in
so that's
there.
Your flex. Yeah, that's your flex play right there. Is Alvin Kamara, right? And then play Ridley and Ayuk. Yeah,
but don't leave Kamara in your flex just in case there's injuries. It's Thursday Night Football. Put him in one of your running back spots, and then put
that's smart. That's smart. Good advice
down there in case there's something pops up.
Very smart. Good advice. There you go. All right. Let's move on to Atlanta, Tampa here. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this game, Tony, because I know you like how the Bucs been playing. You kind of root for the Falcons and their young offense and young team. What's your thoughts on this one? I had a hard time picking it a little bit just because the Falcons are a little bit unpredictable. They sometimes show up and are really efficient and they protect the football and the defense plays better than you expect. And then sometimes they show up and it's like, get off the field almost. Like, what are you guys doing out there? What's your thoughts on this one? I'm leaning Bucs as of right now.
I'm taking the Bucs because Desmond Ridder is just not showing the consistency I think necessary for the Falcons to win games. I'm a little confused as to why Taylor Heineke hasn't gotten a shot in some of these games. Like these games are winnable, and if you think that your backup quarterback could come in and not make a few of these mistakes or not have these issues they were down in the red zone with opportunities to win that game. Like they needed to win that game at home last week. And it's ugly in certain ways to watch the Falcons play. The Bucs played the Lions. That's a tough matchup for them because it's sort of them. It's a similar format with just a better version, tougher version. But I think the Bucs at home get back on the right track and have a chance to potentially win this division. Like I was very wrong about the Bucs. And so I know there was an injury to Mayfield, or who's a little banged up. I'm hoping he's available to play in this game because I picked the Bucs. But yeah, if it looks like Kyle Trask is going to play, I think I'm going to regret picking the Bucs.
I hope the Bucs get the run game going here soon. I want to see Rashad White get to work too. But other than that, they've been pretty good. Stellar defense. The passing game has been better than expected just because Baker Mayfield, to me, has played better than I expect him to play. Just simple as that. I thought that he might have some of the issues we've seen when he's been asked to drop back in Cleveland in the past.
Yeah.
He's been very good at getting the ball to Mike Evans, at getting the ball to Chris Godwin, and utilizing the guys that in this offense. And I think that for the Falcons, they need to look at what Baker Mayfield is doing for the Bucs and keeping them afloat. And like you said, competing for the division. The Falcons aren't out of the race for the division yet. They need to do the same thing with Taylor Heineke, like the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to feed the weapons. He's going to know what to do. He knows I am not the superstar that's going to carry this team to victory. 7 is. 15 is, or he wears 5, right? 5 is. 8 is the guy we need to go to. It's not me. I'm just the facilitator here. And I think that Tyler Heinicke probably would give them some more consistent football. I'm not saying he's going to outperform Desmond Ridder statistically, and it's going to be this crazy looking difference. But like last week's game, Heinicke probably pulls that one out. There's been a few games like that this year for the Falcons.
Yeah, Trey Palmer and Cade Otton have stepped up nicely in that Bucs offense too.
Yeah,
like giving it like a very well-rounded feel for the Bucs.
Cade Otton was a guy that I was really eyeballing for like Dynasty last year as a stash, and I went with Isaiah Likely instead, kind of as my guy to stash. I don't know. I mean, he's looking good. I might have made a mistake there.
I think the only reason that would be a mistake is because Likely has to compete with Andrews. Cade Otton is competing with, like, they drafted somebody in the 4th or 5th round this year who I don't think has as much skill, maybe more of a blocker. And Cade Otton, I think, has a better opportunity to sort of fall into that Pat Freiermuth level of tight end if he can reach his peak. And Baker has a chance to earn a contract extension. He could be looking at that Geno level, you know, hey, we might draft a guy next year, but you could also be looking at, you know, making $28 to $34 million a year if you get this Bucs team into the playoffs.
We don't feel we got to throw the guy into the fire that we get, you know, not even with our first round pick, maybe in the first season. We can be patient about it. Yeah, I like that take. Let's see this game here, because I'm interested what you think about this one, Tony, as well. LA Rams, they have, and I've said it in weeks prior, proving me and Joe wrong from what we were saying about them in the preseason and in training camp when we went to their practices. The offense looks really good. Matthew Stafford is doing what Matthew Stafford does. He's generally healthy this year and balling out. Cooper Kupp is back, and he's back to rocking already in this offense. And then the defense, super young, but man, they've been solid as well. You're relying on Aaron Donald to kind of game wreck a little bit, but what Aaron Donald is doing is giving the relief in that secondary for those young guys to kind of be aggressive and just fly around. They don't have to stay in coverage for a super long amount of time. They can go ahead and trust their instincts and just play. Steelers, Rams, who you got in this one?
So give a shout out. I think Ernest Jones has played well. Linebacker, a lot of times they just go, it's Aaron Donald and a bunch of nobodies. I think Ernest Jones has played really well. The 2 rookies they drafted, they hit on. And I think we're going to see a lot of teams start rebuilding, kind of similar to what the Rams did. Load up on as many picks as you can and bring in like 15 draftable tops, 6-round pick rookies, right? Like if you can get 6 picks or 11 picks in the first 6 rounds and hopefully hit on like 4 of them. Kobe Turner and Byron Young, the good Byron Young, sorry Raiders fans, the one who from Tennessee ended up on the Rams, and they're playing really good football. I ended up landing with the Steelers on this one. I just think coming off a bye that the defense is going to be able to find some ways to be able to get pressure. Also using Minka in some sort of a way to make things more difficult when they get down in the red zone, giving different looks to have double teams on Cooper. Then that means that Puka, which he's very capable of, could maybe see some more one-on-one matchups with Joey Porter or Peterson out there. So I don't have a ton of faith that the Steelers offense is going to come back and all of a sudden it's just going to be clicking. Here we go. Canada came back from vacation and now all of a sudden the offense looks great. But I do think that the defense will be able to make enough plays against that offensive line to make a difference. And them being without Kyron Williams it's different, because last week my prediction on the show was the Cardinals would keep it close. They did. That game was close up in the halftime. McVay, who is a fantastic coach, comes out and says, boys, we got to get the run game going. Kyron Williams is like 150 yards in the second half and completely just starts to open things up for the Rams in that game. So again, the Rams are better than I thought. Steelers fans also travel well. So I'm going to go TJ Watt, the most underrated player defensively. We never talk about TJ. We always talk about Micah. We don't talk about TJ. We don't talk about Myles Garrett enough. 2 guys that are phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, TJ is making a Defense Player of the Year again bid. And this will be a second one, so he's definitely
MVP level bid.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
destroying games, scoring touchdowns, ending
Especially
games.
when you look at the rest of the team and how they've been playing, like the offense been as bad as they have. It's like TJ is really like carrying this team to the record that they have right now. That's what they're gonna need to do, Tony, for the Steelers to win this. They need to turn this into a defensive battle. They can't let the Rams get ahead on the scoreboard early because things are. Go ahead.
2 division games, the Ravens and the Browns games. He's essentially won these games.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Like the Ravens probably should have smoked the Steelers the way the Texans did the week before, but just TJ Watt applying the pressure, the secondary applying the pressure on the Ravens. Ravens made a few mistakes as well, but like a perfect example is that fade to Odell on the goal line. Terrible effort by Odell. I'm one of the last people to criticize the man, but the route was terrible, and then when the ball's up in the air, he didn't really try for it. Just like gave Joey Porter Jr. a free interception to prevent a chance at a touchdown there on the goal line. But Lamar had to make a quick decision because TJ Watt just absolutely obliterated and was in his face already after the ball was snapped. Stuff like that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but that interception was kind of forced by TJ Watt. But with all that being said, I'm going with the Rams. I think they can do enough on offense to put this thing out of reach. I have no faith in the Steelers offense. I mean, even the big play that they got that won them the game, and I'm glad that you guys are both going Steelers. But even that big play that they got at the end of the game to kind of close it and win it, it's come out now that like Kenny Pickett kind of just called that shit on the fly. It was just like, you know what, George, run a go. Yeah, they could do that late in the game again, I guess. But I don't know. I'm not going to rely on that every week. The Steelers should have gotten blown out by the Ravens. They did get blown out by the Texans. Like in the last month, their only like decent win was against the Raiders, and that shit was ugly too. And the Rams have been good. So that's why I'm going with LA. And I'm rooting for them too. Come on, Rams. Let's do this.
I think Kenny Pickett misses Deontay Johnson because he's a great route runner. They're easy throws. When you get him one-on-one, he's usually going to beat who's ever in front of him. And those are easy opportunities. I like the way they were using Jaylen Warren a little bit more, trying to get that sort of extension of the run game through him. And Damian makes a great point that Highsmith has been a sensational ad for the Steelers.
Yeah,
he's just playing great ball. So yeah, good for him. I hope Canada stays at home.
I don't want Canada out there, but they're committed to them.
Yeah, it's not. I have a hard time distinguishing how much like blame and credit to give coordinators. Like I just don't.
Right.
I'm not quite sure how it works because I do think like I don't know. Like, are we to blame Andy Reid for struggles that the offense has had in Kansas City this year, or like is it the weapons? Is it Patrick? Like people are playing Patrick's differently. Like it's a weird.
It is hard to figure out. It is hard to figure out. And usually when I'm like thinking about that kind of stuff, I try to think of myself as if I'm on the team and what would be my perspective as a player on the team. I don't know. It's tough because like it could be any list of things when it comes to the entire offense struggling. It's not like it's one isolated thing that the receivers aren't getting open or the offensive line. I mean, it isn't a great offensive line, but the offensive line is just getting blown through. Like it's a bunch of things. Quarterback stuff. You know what I mean?
It's a benefit of the doubt type of a game, right? So like everybody that I talked to was like, dude, Burrow's back. And I'm like, they scored 3 points in the second half of that game. Like the Seahawks lost last week because Geno Smith couldn't get anything done in the red zone. Like 4 times in the second half, the Seahawks were inside the 15-yard line. And then it was just terrible decision-making, play calling, effort. It was not Burrow being like, oh, I'm going to go take this game. It was a
and thanks Seattle for that, by the way. Thanks.
Oh, I know. The Seahawks, I thought should have won that game so easily.
I was just watching that thing, just pissed, Tony. I was pissed. That's why I watched most of the games last week. But let's keep it moving here. Enough Steelers talk, Rams talk. Let us know who you got, Rams or Steelers, in the chat, please. If you guys are on TikTok, come to YouTube. Here we go. Washington on the road in New York. And you never can feel safe with the Washington Commanders. But maybe this week you can.
I don't feel safe with it at all because, like I said before, the Giants defense has now put back-to-back good weeks together. Don't look at the box score in the game against Miami and go, oh, well, they just got blown out. That's not really the case. They played Tua really well. I think they had 2 interceptions and a pick 6 in that game. Like, they put, they put more points on the board in that game than the offense did. And the offense was given short fields too. So, like, the Giants then came out and played the Bills really tough. So that's the one thing that worries me is, like, do they find a way to take advantage of the fact that Sam Howell is going to end up being sacked like 100 times if he can stay upright? If he stays upright for 17 games this year, this dude is going to destroy David Carr's sack record. Like, it's, I don't know. He's probably in the 30s already after like 6 games this year. So I'm taking Washington because of the amount of playmakers that they have, but I don't feel tremendous about it. And the Washington defense hasn't really been like what we think it will be. Every year going into the preseason, we're like, this is the year. They drafted Forbes in the first round. He's going to make a difference for them. He's not been great for them out there. The D-line is good, but there's better D-lines. Like, when I look at the talent and the draft picks and all the capital they've invested, I'm like, yeah, but I think the 49ers defensive line is better. I think the Eagles defensive line is better. I think even the Colts defensive line is better. So, like, I go around, I'm like, all of a sudden I start getting there and they're like 10.
Yeah.
But in preseason, I'm like, this is the best defensive line ever assembled. And then the season shakes out and I'm like, it's good, but it's not tremendous.
Yeah, we're all kind of like ready and want to see a return of that one year that the defense was just invincible. They were lethal. The D-line was just feasting on everybody. But yeah, we have not quite seen that since the Chase Young injury, pretty much.
Here's the question, because the Giants offense looked better and functional. Yes, they had some short yardage red zone situation issues last week, but do you, if you're the coach, go, hey, Danny, take another week. Just go ahead. Go get, pop on over and sit in the massage chair, like, really get some more treatment done. Take another week off. Let me see if I can get this thing cooking with Tyrod.
It's unfortunate, man. And I predicted it. It was one of my biggest talking points this offseason when it came to this division, that Daniel Jones was going to kind of get exposed, that contract was a terrible contract immediately. But even I didn't think it was going to be like this. I mean, he's just out there like a sitting duck behind this O-line. And we've seen Daniel Jones have turnover issues in the past. It's being exemplified because it seems like he's scared now to throw the ball. It's tough. And scared to drop back because he's afraid he's just going to get murdered immediately.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that one. I'm going Washington also. They should win this game. They have more dynamic offense. Just sometimes they just don't show up, and they just have a terrible game.
I had them winning 4 games, and during the show, you and Joe called me a lunatic.
I think I had them winning like 7 games or something.
Yeah.
Even that felt low. Anyways, on to Arizona and Seattle. And Seattle's another team that I have confidence in, and I'm taking the Seahawks to win this game because Seattle's another team, like I was saying about Buffalo earlier, they seem to always respond. When they have a struggle game, it's going to be the complete opposite the next week. They're going to get the run game going early. They're going to cash in on these red zone drives because they're probably going to work their asses off on red zone offense this week. I think that they're going to blow out Arizona. But you have any hope for the Cardinals, Tony?
I don't at all. I think the Cardinals have been very competitive, and then the good teams pull away in the second half. And that we could have another situation like that this week with them. Although I'm not really sure that it should be that competitive in the first half. I think it was Tyler Lockett has missed with some injuries. So hopefully in practice, he's been able to get a little more chemistry. Somebody else gave a shout out to JSN. I think this is a week where we get to see him be a difference maker for that offense. Like, DK Metcalf is a little bit banged up. They have another rookie that they really like, Jake Bobo, that's played fantastically in the preseason, and now he's starting to make some plays, making some big blocks, getting the team excited. So I like Kenneth Walker in fantasy this week, and I like the Seahawks defense as a streamer if they're still out there.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I think Joe is with us as well. You never know with Joe, so you got to double check. But yeah, Joe's picking the Seahawks as well. Joe predicted the Browns upset last week. He's not here to take his victory lap, but if you see a Joe upset, don't just immediately shit on the guy. He might be onto something.
But he didn't take the Cardinals in this, did he?
No, he took the Seahawks. So Seattle. I don't think he has any major upsets this week.
Yeah,
We'll
it'd be tough to like really see an upset. I guess like the biggest upset, if I was looking at the board, would probably be like the Colts beating the Browns after the Browns win last week. Like all of these teams are pretty evenly matched.
He could go Bears.
Yeah, but is that really an upset?
I know. It's not. It's not really that crazy of an upset. All right, let's move on to my game of the week. This is the most must-see non-primetime game this week. You guys got to put it on your TV. The Chargers-Chiefs game is a very, 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 very close second, but I want to be a little different this week. Let's send the attention to this throw that we're going to see. Lions, Ravens. I already saw your guys' picks for this game, and it really upset me who you chose. But, Tony, let the people know what you're thinking here about what I think is going to be an absolute war. Like, these two teams are physical.
Yeah. And I think that is the part of the reason that I didn't take the Lions is because they really need Montgomery for this game. I think he's the kind of like physical tone setter that they would love to have in the run game. And then I don't think Craig Reynolds is going to play either. He's another guy that is just going to lower his shoulders and just try and run through people and get everybody excited, reward the offensive line for big blocks. So it looks like Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be getting the bulk of the touches, which we think could be fantastic. But do you really want that against a Ravens defense that seems to be out there like ready to just separate, people from, the upper half of their body from the lower half? I'm going with the Ravens at home because I think there's an opportunity for the Ravens pass game to get a little bit on track, deeper downfield, working into the secondary. They played better against the Titans, but still not as good as I thought they would be. There's still like another level for as good as the offense plays for the most part. There's still like probably a couple levels that the Ravens offense could get to. And I think that they can find a way to win a close game. This is one of those games where it's 26-23 Ravens at the end of it. Both defenses making plays, but Lamar Jackson, legs, Zay Flowers late in this game downfield, making some plays to win.
It 100% does feel like they could take it to another level. And that's what's got me excited about the Ravens, because if they can hit that stride at the right time, they're going to be a really good team that's going to compete in the AFC. And you know what a big Lamar Jackson fan I am. But I want to give credit to the Lions. This team, I think, has established itself amongst the top three in the NFC right now. We're talking about 49ers, Eagles, Lions. They're right there in that conversation. And when they are healthy and they had David Montgomery out there and they get C.J. Gardner-Johnson hopefully back out there towards the later half of the season, they're going to be a team that's going to be a ton of fun to watch going into the playoffs. I was completely wrong. I had the Bears winning that division. I think that the Lions have done enough now to where it's like they're definitely the favorites to win that division down the stretch. And I'm not saying that I'm going against the Lions again like I was before, but there is that little bit of shadow of the doubt in the back of my head. And like I said, I believe that the Ravens can't hit that second gear that you're talking about, Tony. Or even if this turns into a mucky game, like a lot of these Baltimore games have become, I got them pulling out that one too, honestly. I got them pulling it out in both scenarios. Unless the Lions just come out and torch their defense, which would be shocking to me.
So a couple of things here. The Lions, I believe, are going to be the number one seed in the NFC this year. Just when I look at the rest of their schedule and the matchups they have, and they get to play the Packers and the Vikings and the Bears a couple more times, and even their away games, like they come out here against the Chargers. That'll be a tough game, but it's like, look how tough games are going for us this year. The other thing is, if the Lions win this game, Harrison is so confidently picking the Lions. Jared Goff will be talked about Monday morning on every show as the leader for MVP. He's been playing outstanding football this year. It doesn't matter if it's Josh Reynolds needing to be number one, Khalif Raymond, the rookie Sam Laporta, like everybody is just, he's getting them the football. The run game wasn't great last week. So what does he do? There's a decent pass rush for the Bucs. Oh, I'm going to go out and just sling the rock all over the field, and we're still going to dominate this game on the road. And that is the kind of thing that you haven't seen with the Lions. You know, I don't know if I've ever seen a Lions team that just goes out and dominates like that. Yeah. Like, it's really impressive.
Yeah, and if the Lions pull this one out, I think that you could start talking about them possibly winning the NFC. I mean, this is a really good Ravens team. This would be a huge win for them. They beat a really good team last week. The Bucs are a good team as well. What pisses me off is that you guys have been doing the Lions talk for like my entire time knowing you, basically. Yeah. And you guys are just now going against them the same week that I'm like, I probably have a sneaky pick here. You don't want to put the same faith in the Lions you've had for years when they're 5-1, Tony?
No, because this is not about like where I think these teams will be at in a couple of weeks or whatever. This is like right now what the matchup is, where the game is. If this game was in Detroit, I would probably pick the Lions. Like, I think it's going to be that close. Like, you can't just do this like all with emotion. That's why I'm in first place, because you have to be able to decipher what you want to happen. And I want the Lions to win. It is good for us if more NFC teams win. Last week, the NFC really let the Chargers down, including the Chargers letting the Chargers down and not beating an NFC team. Like,
yeah, we didn't need the NFC's help on that one. But anyway, let's keep it going here. Here we go. Green Bay Packers, Denver Broncos, two teams that are reeling, two teams that are probably not really pushing for a great season down the stretch. Probably not looking at playoffs, probably not looking at all the things that they wanted to do with turnarounds and kind of shifting. The Broncos shifting to Sean Payton, the Packers shifting to Jordan Love. What's your thoughts about this one in Mile High? I have no clue who to pick in this game. I'll let you know my choice after you, Tony.
So I was Broncos all the way up until I had to make my pick. And then I was just like, Packers bye week. They have to have found something where they're like, okay, we can get easy throws for Love in this game. I didn't even check to see if Aaron Jones was going to be available or not, but the Broncos can't play consistent football for a full game. Like, it's just not, they can't put 60 minutes of football together. And that to me is going to be the difference, whether it's the Packers defense making a play late in this game when it's necessary, or Jordan Love, having a terrible game, but stringing together a fourth quarter where he's just like, all right, Christian Watson's out there somewhere. There it is. Like, game. So I'm going with the Packers. This is one I definitely have like zero confidence in, but I just like the last minute was like, you know what? I got to take Green Bay and believe that LaFleur was like, we're going to get easy throws. Musgrave back on the field, get him involved. Some interesting stuff to Jaden Reed if he's available. Go Pack, go.
I'm with you 100% on being completely unconfident in my pick. I'm just going to take the home team. Go Broncos, go. Yeah, let's ride, Russ. I'm hoping that what we saw out of the Broncos defense against the Chiefs gives them a little bit more momentum going into this game, and they could play a little bit better than they played this year. I'm not saying that they had a turnaround or anything like that, but sometimes games like that can get just the confidence going, get the juice flowing. And the Broncos offense, it's been terrible at times, but as a whole, it's slightly improved. Slightly. I don't know who to pick either, though, Tony, to be fair. Like, this to me was a coin flip, giving the home team the advantage and the team that is playing against your pick the advantage.
But that's what I was saying. Like, they can't play 60 minutes of football, like offensively or defensively. There's nothing there.
I'm hoping that 45 minutes is enough.
And you're here. I'll give you a great transition, Mike, because your optimism about how the Broncos defense played last week is the optimism for why I believe our Chargers are going to win this weekend. Because there's no way that performance that I watched from the Chiefs, if they come out there and do that against the Chargers defense, it'll be more opportunistic. They'll cash in on that kind of stuff, and they'll find a way to get the dub, Mike. We need it.
I'm with you 100%. And for all you fans out there that are going to call me and Tony completely biased for this pick, look at Joe Morley's pick in this game, Tony. What? He's going with the Chargers too?
I don't like it when all three of us are on the same pick. It doesn't work out for us. Like, just go back and look at the history. I was banking on Joe taking the Chiefs in this game. Like, I really was. And I think Joe is just taking the Chargers because he knows he's out of it. He's like a fish floating belly up in this competition of Pickems. So he's like, well, I'll just take this. And if not, I'll get to make fun of my friends for what's wrong with their team. Why can't they beat anybody? Like, honestly, though,
there's some hedging going on here. Some hedging from Joe.
Yes. Yeah. He gets to troll, or he gets to, gets a win here. I do really think that this is a tremendous opportunity for a Herbert bounce back game. And this is also a game where I think that we are going to see a couple of deep shots to Quentin Johnston finally. Like, it's going to happen in this game. Even if it's forced to him and whatever, like, they're going to try and do something completely different that Spagnuolo hasn't seen, and that means involving Quentin Johnston. Because the Chiefs defense is really good. And I'm not picking this to be like an upset or anything. I just think late in this game, they're going to find a way to go in and be on the positive end of this one, which they've already done this year in a couple of games. Not against a team that's as good as the Chiefs, but here it is. Let's get it done, boys.
It's not even just Herbert, man. And this is what I keep telling people that are going off this week on Herbert. The entire team played like trash. Herbert missed a few throws. We ain't going to lie about it. That throw to Keenan Allen, I will argue Keenan made a bad adjustment on the ball. But there's a few other throws in there that were ugly, and that were tough. That was the ugliest looking one in the biggest moment. So that's the one that everyone's breaking down and going crazy about. Herbert put that out in front of Keenan, and it was just right outside of the reach of his fingertips. But the O-line struggled in times to keep their hands outside of the guy's shoulder pads and jerseys, and got some key holding penalties in bad moments. That 3rd and 1 where they pick it up easily on the ground. It's like, finally, we could freaking get a 3rd and 1 and holding penalty. Or going down the field on the run pass options. Like, guys, the play call is RPO. You have to stay there for an extra second. You can't go down the field, because if it's a pass, you're illegally down the field. That happened twice in the game. The defensive line could not get Dak Prescott down to the ground. They were getting all kinds of pressure, and I love to see that. The Chargers they do have a top 3 defensive line performance-wise this year, but you got to get the guy down to the ground. Like, basically everything except for the run defense struggled in that game, and Tony Pollard still broke out a big reception after breaking a tackle. It's not like it was all Herbert, and that's why the Chargers lost. Like, there's a number of things. A list of 5, 6, 7 things at almost every position where people made mistakes. So putting it all on Herbert's back is the cheap and easy cop-out for fans to do. But in my opinion, Herbert didn't even have his worst game in that game. Like, Herbert played decent. He just missed a few key throws in the big moment, which you don't want to see him do, obviously.
Yeah, I disagree with you on both fronts. I think that was one of Herbert's worst games since his rookie year, and I don't think the team overall played like garbage. They played a really good team, and if we go back and we looked at it, penalties aren't created equally. Just because both teams got 11 penalties, if you look at the times in which the penalties and the factor that they had on what it was, like, the penalties were way more penalizing or, like, neutralizing to the Chargers. A lot of them were on first downs. It was the first touchdown of the game. Like, yes, they went on to score a touchdown, but it was 3rd and 19. You're about to get off the field. It was another, like, 3rd down or whatever. You're about to get off the field. There's a penalty. It makes it, 3rd and short or something like that. They convert it. The penalties that the Chargers were committing were much more detrimental to them winning the game in the end. And, like, credit to Dak. He played well enough to go out and win the game, and the Chargers did not, whether it's an offensive line thing or not. It's not like Herbert didn't play terrible or garbage like the internet and TV is saying. That's not the case, but he did not play like to the standard of which he had played for the first 5 weeks of the season. Like that's basically the difference that I'm saying there. Like it was,
everyone's out here talking like he's been bad the entire season.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
Y'all are crazy.
He's been better than Patrick Mahomes has been this year. Like the Chiefs,
he's in the MVP race. He's in the MVP race right now.
Herbert?
Yes.
You can't with 2 wins. You can't be. Mike, we're boys.
2 wins out of 5. You're saying like it's 2 wins out of 17. Like if the Chargers go on a win streak and they're 5-3 in 4 weeks or in 3 weeks, he's in the MVP race.
Sure, you're projecting it out there, but I'm saying as we sit here today, right now, he can't be in my MVP conversation, and he wasn't on the show that we did last week. Like you have to win the games, whether it's the defense making the plays or he's making the plays. Like the team has to come out on the positive side of it. This is a heavily balanced award on like what the schedule, like what the record is of your team. And unfortunately, they're on the wrong side of that. I do think they get back to 500 this week, and a lot of the conversation and narrative. Now, here's the one thing for all of the Staley haters out there. I was going to save this for the show. You guys will get your wishes if the Chargers look flat and get blown up by the Chiefs at home. If this is a like 17, 20-point victory for the Chiefs and the team looks flat and lifeless, I don't believe Brandon Staley is at the podium on Monday. Like, he cannot go fall to 2-4 and get crushed by a division opponent on the road and the team just looks flat. It's like, nope, we got to change something up. Let's give the team to Kellen Moore. He's got the Bears coming in the following week. Like this game, he doesn't have to win it, but the team cannot look lifeless against the Chiefs. Otherwise, he's done.
And the crazy part is that the defense is finally looking good. It's the little things, man. It's the little things. A lot like the Chargers are a handful of maybe 10 total plays from being undefeated, and it's just so painful as a Chargers fan. Yes. Keep living through it over and over again. All right, we're gonna get out. We'll get off of this. We're gonna have nuts and bolts tomorrow. If you guys want to go to the Nuts and Bolts podcast, we're gonna do a full 30 to 45 minute talk about the Chargers. If you guys want more from us, but let's go on to Raiders here. I'm just going to put it up on the board. You guys are both going with the Raiders. I am forced to pick the Raiders. I want to put it out on the record right now for the entire world, all of the MJT 4s out there, everyone over here on TikTok, come to the YouTube channel, by the way, that I am forced to take the Raiders. I think the Bears are going to win wholeheartedly. If I had the choice, I would take the Bears. But I told Raiders fans that if I got the pick wrong last week and guaranteed that the Raiders were going to lose. By the way, I was undefeated last week. I'm 5-1 in Raiders games. Then I would take the Raiders this week no matter what. Now, fortunately, I didn't even look at who they were playing. Fortunately, they're not playing the Chiefs. They're not playing the Bills. They're not playing like a super good team. So there is a chance the Raiders can pull this out against a backup quarterback in Chicago. But I just want to put it out for the record. I think the Bears are going to win in Chicago. Da Bears.
They could. So I'm picking the Raiders because of the defense, not because of Aiden O'Connell or the offense. I guess, you know what? I'll take that back. I'm picking it for the defense, and I think this is Josh Jacobs' like big game. Josh Jacobs, 200 all-purpose yards. They're getting him some easy checkdowns where he can get in space and end up with 50 or 60 receiving yards and 150. It's Miami Vice. He put up there that the announcers in that game last week said Mike Parsons didn't have a sack, and literally on cue, he ended up getting a sack, which he would not have gotten that sack if Keenan would have just been aware of what was going on and gotten 2 yards upfield and gotten the first down.
Another one of the 1 yard mistakes they made. You know what I mean? That just are huge, even though it's only a couple yards.
Yes. And there was the same thing. We talked about it in the Miami game, week 1. Keenan had a chance to get a first down, wasn't paying attention about where he was, got out of bounds, sack Kader Kohu. Now they're on their 1 yard. Blah, blah, blah.
That's stuff they need to clean up.
Let's focus on the Raiders. Lots of Raiders fans in here, and we need to give them their due because they're winning football games. Like, this is what the Raiders didn't do last year. In all of their close games, they kept coming out on the wrong end of things. And this year, the team is not doing that. They're not finding ways to pitch the ball back and let, like bad shit happen to them or whatever. Like, that's a good thing. I do think that Raiders fans are insane to want to move on from Josh McDaniels. As a Chargers fan, I hope they do fire him and restart over and have to try and rebuild everything all over again. Like, we need to get a quarterback, that we have more problems with Devontae Adams, and Max Crosby's frustrations will grow. I know he loves being a Raider and he loves everything now, but if he's on like coach number 4 in the first 6 years of his career, like, he will grow weary of what is happening with the organization, because he is a tremendous player. Again, let's put Max Crosby in the underrated pass rusher conversation about guys we don't talk about enough. Like, he's a freak out there. This game comes down to, you get a rookie quarterback starting in a situation that hasn't been healthy for the guy that they spent the entire offseason pouring into and building up. Like, I cannot pick a team that is like all of a sudden gonna turn it on with the rookie. Like, that's just, I don't see that happening. So I think the Raiders have played good football this year, and they're winning games, and they are 3-3, and that's probably what they are. And for whatever reason, they're starting Aiden O'Connell when I thought Brian Hoyer looked good and serviceable and like a professional player who could win a game against the Bears. Aiden O'Connell is the one wild card, but I don't think the Bears defense is necessarily good enough to capitalize on it. So as much as I hate it, taking the Raiders.
Yeah, and I think there's a chance you see both quarterbacks in the game. There's a chance. You know where Max Crosby would be a great fit, Tony? The team that they're playing. Maybe do a little Khalil Mack redo. That'd be great. Send him to Chicago. Raider Aaron thinks that Devontae is going to be gone if Josh stays on the team. They just got to get past the trade deadline, and he's trapped, Raider Aaron. That's all they got to do is keep him on board long enough, get through the trade deadline. He's trapped until next offseason at least. But, yeah, you do have to give them some credit for pulling out a couple of these close games. I didn't think they were going to win all the way into the wire until it was officially over. I thought that the Patriots were going to sneak a field goal at the very end with that game last week, and the defense held on for them just enough. All right, this is the next game of the year, I hope, Tony. This is the next game that's going to be that just exciting, thrilling Sunday night football game. You got two really good offensive minds. It could turn into a little bit of a chess match as well. It has everything that you want in a football game. Which way you leaning? Miami Dolphins or Philadelphia Eagles, and why?
I'm taking the Dolphins. I do think that this game is super exciting, and Philadelphia is going to be insane. They've got the Phillies right now in the playoffs, and their home games are always like crazy ruckus environments. The thing that made me pick the Dolphins in the end is that the secondary has issues. And if you have secondary coverage issues, this is the worst team that you could possibly be playing. And I know that Mike McDaniel has to be looking at this and going, oh, there's ways that we can get Waddle and Hill and every other, like receiver, like Braxton Berrios is going to have some big plays, and River Craycraft and whoever else is in that offense is going to have chances to make some plays out there. The run game, I don't think is as effective, and it looks like they're going to get back Jalen Carter, but Devonta Smith being down allows maybe a little more focus to be put on AJ Brown, in certain areas in the red zone, a little more focus to be put on Dallas Goedert. So I think it's a shootout. I think it's one of those fun games where it's like 33-30 and Jason Saunders is kicking a game-winning field goal at the end. But this is another, to me, Tyreek Hill game where he ends up with 170 yards and a touchdown and is phenomenal. And hopefully in the broadcast, they're talking MVP for Tyreek Hill.
Well, he would be the MVP of this team if we had to pick one. This dude is freaking phenomenal, and Philly has a task to try and slow this guy down. But I'm relying on this Philly D-line to get to Tua and get in his face early in this game, throw him off his mark just a little bit, and hopefully disrupt them enough to where the Philly rushing attack can really get going. The Miami defense has its own glaring hole, and that's why this game is so fun, because the Philly secondary is a spot where Miami can brutalize them because their super strength is their receivers and their speed and their creativity in the passing game. And on the other side, the Miami defense has been pretty average against the run, pretty average against the pass, and Philly is superhuman in the rushing attack with their offensive line and with Jalen Hurts and with DeAndre Swift. That's why it's so fun. I'm relying on Jalen Carter coming back, like you're saying, and the rest of this Philly D-line. They got to get after Tua early, whatever they got to do. Even if they give a few chances at the one-on-one outside, if they hit one and they score early, okay, I mean, it's going to backfire on you a little bit, and you can start to be a little bit less aggressive with it. But I think that it's really key to slowing down this Miami offense, is setting that tone that we're going to be in your face to it. You do not have time to hold on to the ball. You're going to have to figure out these, in routes and stuff and get Tyreek Hill in the yak department. It is going to be an exciting game, though. I don't know who to pick. I feel like they match up well against each other, offensively versus defenses, both the defenses. The offenses both match up well against the defenses they're playing. So I think, like you're saying as well, it's going to be a high-scoring game. Joe's with me on the Eagles. Like I've been saying the whole show, I'm not happy that me and Joe have the exact same picks. It doesn't make me excited going into the weekend. But come on, Eagles, fly in Philly. You guys got to win this game. Please. I cannot go down in this competition anymore.
So I think that one of the issues, like Lane Johnson being banged up, is a little troublesome for that Eagles pass game, but also like even the run game. But we talk about the Eagles rushing attack like they've actually been deploying it this year. I think they only did it for that one game. Who was it against? The Vikings, where they just were like, we're gonna.
They have 1,000 yards rushing this season, Tony.
Yeah, but
we're in week 6. We're talking about 200 yards a game almost.
No, I'm not. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's still there, but it's not like they're taking over games with it. And I think that is the key for them to have victory, is for them to be really controlling the clock and keeping up the Miami defense on the sidelines and really wearing down sort of a faster Miami defense. But it's just not adding up for me to pick the Eagles at home and then watching the game and going, wait, why did I bet against the Dolphins? Just because I want them to lose? Like, I hate it when I do that, because when I start like checking all the boxes and I think what will happen, it's like sometimes I have a bad habit of going, well, I want the Dolphins to lose because it's better for the Chargers in the AFC. Like, I just couldn't do it. There were more checks, more pluses for the Dolphins in this game.
That's called being a football fan right there, Tony. But again, that's why you're probably ahead in the competition.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'm cheating. I'm using my brain.
I had a fan interview with the Brisket Broads, and they chose the Vikings to win this game, but none of us are taking the Vikings.
This is the Kyle Shanahan like dream QB matchup. It's like Brock Purdy and Kirk Cousins, just two guys who are going to do whatever I say. Here's the play. Here's the easy read. Make the throw. Like, I don't see a fashion, and it doesn't matter if Debo doesn't play, if CMC doesn't play, Trent Williams could sit out. I still think the 49ers are the better team, the more physical team, and they will win this game. Like, maybe not easy because the Vikings do have fight, but it'll be convincing. The 49ers will win by, 10 points or something like that. So I don't imagine these 30-point blowouts like they've been having, but if all those guys are out, they could still win this game by 10 points.
Yeah, and CMC takes them to the next level, but it's what we've been seeing for years. Like Elijah Mitchell, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be available either, but even Shaq Mason is breaking runs this year. Like, this offensive line, this 49ers offense, they're going to be okay without the stars. Not as explosive like we saw in that Browns game. This ain't the Browns defense you're playing against. This is the Minnesota defense. They've been struggling this year. They have not been very good. You should be able to put some points up on the board. Not like you're saying, not a crazy amount. But I think that the San Francisco defense is going to be playing angry in this one. That's not good news for the Justin Jefferson-less, young Vikings offense right now. I mean, other than Kirk Cousins, they got a rookie out wide in Addison. KJ Osborne's in his third year, but really like his second year getting any kind of significant playing time. Like these 49ers are going to be getting after them. And then you just sprinkle the whole Kirk primetime shit right on top of all of it.
Yeah, I didn't even factor that in because to me, that doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like, this is just one of those ones where he's coming in, and with Justin Jefferson, maybe it's a little bit closer, but the Niners should be able to get pressure with just the front four, like who's ever up there rushing. So
honestly, with just one, they probably could get pressure with one.
That feels insulting. I like that you called him Shaq Mason. I believe Shaq Mason's the guard for the Texans.
Oh, I'm tripping.
Jordan Mason. Yeah. Shaq Mason could run on these guys. Like, damn, that is a bad defense.
I mean, sometimes you see these linemen pick up fumbles and they're just as powerful as any running back in the league. They take off. They give 5 extra yards.
Remember that play that Hunt made for the Dolphins a couple years ago where he like did a spin move and then cartwheel flipped into the end zone? Like,
I was live on here when that happened. That was hilarious.
Big boy had some juice.
That was hilarious.
This is one of those games where it's like when the schedules makers were making this game, they were like, this will have more interest. Like it'll be there. And then just due to injury to Justin Jefferson and injuries to the 49ers, this game could really be like not as fun to watch because you're missing a lot of the primetime guys. And if I was the 49ers, I would shut down CMC for a week. Like I would be like, I think we can go out and win, confident we can win this game without him. Let's make sure that we have him for the long haul.
I don't know about that, Tony. I have a fantasy football matchup I need to win. I need CMC out there for it. But yeah, that's our picks, y'all. Let us know in the chat right now who's going to have the best record this week. This is a big week for me. Me and Tony have differences tonight's game. Pittsburgh, LA. I wish Baltimore, Detroit. Not that one. Green Bay, Denver, Philly, Miami. This is a big week for us. I mean, we could split 2-2 and end up in the same spot, or this league could get huge, or potentially be right back in it. Now, Joe, he's like almost completely eliminated, but he would want me to win because we only have one different pick, me and Joe, this week.
Last week I went 2-0 on our separated picks.
This is my nemesis saying this, Tony. That's how you know it's going to happen.
He just literally just saying the name Mike, which might be the most common name in America. So we don't know if he means you or maybe
he means Mike McDaniels is going to give Tony the win is what he means.
Maybe he's watching this with Bluetooth on and the mechanic who's giving his car an oil change right now is named Mike and he's trying to get something and Siri picked it up and then she just typed it into the chat. It could be a lot of things.
Okay, now. You think he's talking about a different Mike too with the fantasy tier thing or do you think he's talking about me?
Well, I mean, this is specifically towards you. Raider Aaron is literally just saying the name Mike.
By the way, y'all, join this fantasy tier, whatever it's called that Harrison's calling it here. It's the Mike's Pickems Challenge. We've been doing the paid contest this entire time. We officially have added a free contest. I bugged Splash all season. They're finally giving it to me. It's a tiers competition. There's $500 on the line to the winners. If you guys want to check it out, there's the free one, which is the tiers contest, and the paid one where you do your pick'ems in the link in the description. The links are in the description. If you guys just go down below this video and check those out before you go, whether you're watching the replay or you're tuned in live. It helps support my pages and push towards becoming a successful content creator a ton. So please check those out, especially the free one. You don't got to pay a dime for it. It's eligible in all states. It's not like it has any limitations or anything on it. I think only limitation is you have to be 18. That's the only limitation. You just have to put your email in, sign up, and you could join the free one. And if you win the free one, Tony, that's the coolest thing. They'll give you your cash prizes for winning the free one, and you can use that cash to enter the paid one next week.
And win more cash?
Yeah. You need your cash now. What's that commercial? Those are the opera singers?
I just collected a bunch of job applications, but I'm tearing them up. I'm going full-time into Splash money.
Yeah, so please check that out, y'all. It's Miami Vice said, I did this thing where you draft teams, and if your teams do good, you win money. The teams I have are Bengals, Dolphins, Bucks, and Rams. You think I picked smartly? Well, that actually seems like a cool concept of that, whatever that pool or or Pickems challenge you're in there, it's Miami Vice. Join my Pickems challenge, Miami Vice. I just plugged it. Links in the description. Bengals don't play this week, so I don't know how that one's going to go.
Yeah, that to me is interesting because I can see a lot of second half collapses with that string based on schedules, health, crazy tough divisions for at least 3 of those teams. But who knows? I mean, Bengals really could be back on track, and the Dolphins have, with health, a chance to run away in the East, and the Bucs play in a division where it's like this is a big week for them. They need the Bucs need this win.
I personally think that you should have taken Jags, Rams, Broncos, and Eagles. That's teams that are going to win this week. I don't care about the rest of the games. The rest of the games can go whatever way they want to go. If I go 4-9 this week, I better win those 4 fucking games.
I will make this statement right now. I will come on here, and if I am 1-12, as long as that one win is the Los Angeles Chargers, I don't give a shit about the rest of the games. If the Chargers beat the Chiefs, that is the only thing that I care about, and I will lose all of them. I will quit this competition. I just want the Chargers to win in Arrowhead this weekend. 1-12. You can have all those 4 wins. Chargers need to win this weekend.
It's a huge game. It's a huge game because it's not like the season's on the line, but you put yourself in a huge hole with this loss. You need to win this game. They need to win this game.
They need to win this.
And the Chiefs do too, but it's not the same level of importance for the Chiefs as is the Chargers. Harrison's going with your picks, it looks like. Oh, it's for the whole season. I see. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit different. But Tony broke it down as if it was the whole season. So
yeah, that's what I was saying. I've seen a couple of these. Somebody invited me to something similar to this, I think, this offseason, and I didn't take them up on it. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that this could go south for some of those teams in that Pickems thing.
We did it, Tony. You got anything else? We'll wrap this thing up.
Yeah, I don't have anything. You know what, Miami Vice, you're winning it. I don't want to end with something negative because it's Positive Thursday.
Well, tell a joke or something, Tony. Come on, you're funny.
I have no jokes. Bengals, Dolphins, Bucs, Rams, they're all going to win their divisions, and you're going to win whatever cash prize is tied to this Pickems thing.
Ding, ding, ding. You are the winner. All right. Appreciate everyone for tuning in this week to the Pickems Challenge. We'll be back next week at the same time. Thursday mornings at 11 a.m. plus 20 minutes. Oh.
No, I just want to say it's Thursday. Get on your X machine, your Twitter machine, your Instagram. Find somebody in the NFL and send something nice to them. Like just something positive. Yeah. There you go.
Tradition every Thursday. We're going to call it Positive Tweet Thursday.
Yes.
That's pretty good. That's
pretty
good.
Put it on a t-shirt, on a pillow. I don't think a room full of creatives could have come up with something better.
Exactly. We'll see you guys next week on Positive Twitter Thursday or Positive Tweet Thursday. I already fucked it up. And then I cussed. Oh my gosh. Like the stream. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notification. It helps out a ton when you guys do those 2 things for the channel's performance. Also, hop down in that link in the description. Like I said earlier, join the free and paid Pickems challenges. We'll be here next week. Hopefully, Joe won't be here again. But if Joe's here, you guys could talk Raiders and Chargers to him all you want. I know you're craving it. We'll see you guys next week. Oh, also, I forgot to plug. We have some uploads coming to the channel. We talked about CJ Stroud. We talked about the Chargers fan plant. And we talked about Anthony Richardson. Yep. Check the channel out. Watch some of those. 2 of them are unreleased. 1 of them's already dropped, but check the channel out and check those out as well. All right,
0,
see you guys for real this time.
0, you're being blocked. For this
0, blocked. Right, block 0.
Blocked.
We get it. 0. We fucking get it. This man, really, on Positive Tweet Thursday.